Welcome back. What's up? My name is Amanda. Today we are talking about my newest favorite thing, aka sprouts. I'm gonna go over the method I use to grow my sprouts and why I like it that way and how to do it, as well as some little tips in there to kind of help you out. Maybe even address some issues that I've been getting questions about regarding sprouts on my TikTok. And I'll also go over different ways you can eat them and how I've been eating them, because they are delicious. Okay, let's go. Now there's a ton of information and ways to grow sprouts out there. I found the easiest for me was the jar method. There's also many places you can purchase your sprouts from. I got mine from True Leaf Market. So I, for the life of me, cannot find my own seed packets, and I know there's somewhere I did not use them all. So I will just put photos up from the website of the types that I got. I got radish sprouts. I also purchased the Health Blend and the Protein Powerhouse Blend, I believe is what it's called. Besides the seeds, you need a vessel, aka your jar. It does not have to be a mason jar, but it needs to be a clear glass container. Mason jars are super easy because you do need ventilation, so you can purchase these screen top lids, or what I use. They are wide mouth, so just any wide mouth mason jar will fit these. You can use any size that you'd like, or you could just use a cheesecloth and a rubber band for the top of it if you'd like, and doing it that way might mean you're able to use any other type of jar instead of a mason jar because you don't have to worry about finding a lid to fit. The last thing you will need to grow your sprouts this way is some type of holder, pretty much something that can keep your jar of sprouts at a 45-degree angle. This is an important step. You don't want to leave them on their side. You want them to be able to drain, get airflow, and you don't want to leave them standing up. So 45-degree angle is key. They actually sell little holders for these I've seen on Amazon and probably True Leaf Market. A lot of people also use dish racks, like those bamboo dish racks. Those are perfect because they're at the perfect angle and you're gonna get some more use out of them if you decide you don't like sprouts or you don't like this method, as well as hydrogen peroxide. This is optional, but all these things are what you need to grow sprouts besides the water, of course. Now, how to actually grow your sprouts. Now you might ask, how do I know how many seeds to put in the jar? Most of the packets, at least the ones from True Leaf Market, will give a recommendation. 1 to 2 tablespoons is often something that I see, although I tried a different amount. This guy that I follow on Instagram does a 1/4 cup ratio, I believe, of the small seeds. I can't remember, but anyway, now that sounded great and I did it, but I regret doing it this way because it was just too much. So the sprouts were jam-packed in there. The Health Blend that I had in one jar, I actually had to split that into 2 jars because it was just way too full in the other jar. And now my jar of radish sprouts, I need to now do the same, empty out half of it, put it in another container because it's just too full, it's not getting proper ventilation, and it just shouldn't be that packed in there. So you take your jar and you take your 1 to 2 tablespoons and you dump them into the jar, and the first stage is the soaking stage. So it's recommended to soak your seeds anywhere from 6 hours to overnight. The overnight is not completely necessary. 6 hours is totally perfect. After that, you will dump out the water in there, give it a good rinse, another dump out, and all this is done with either your mesh cap on or the cheesecloth with the band. So you of course don't want to be rinsing and draining your seeds without that mesh cap or the cheesecloth, because of course all your seeds will fall out of the jar. So yes, give your jar a good rinse and drain 1 to 2 times, and then the second or third time that you fill it up with water, drain it, you're done, and then put it on your rack at its 45-degree angle. So side note, if you are concerned with bacteria, you can do some hydrogen peroxide.
So in the original video, I did not do a very good job at all of explaining this method. So the most common way of using hydrogen peroxide to sterilize that I have seen is the University of California's, and pretty much you just take 3% hydrogen peroxide, add it to some warm water, throw your seeds in, and you let that sit in there and soak for like 5 minutes or so, and then you give it a good rinse and drain. You give it a good rinse and drain, and then from there you start your soak. So if you do choose to use the hydrogen peroxide, just make sure you do it before the initial soaking stage, and then you'll be good.
So yes, the hydrogen peroxide option is there for you if you would like to do it. A lot of things I've read and a lot of people I know also don't even do the hydrogen peroxide at all. So it's kind of up to you. If you're concerned with the bacteria, it's not hard to do. Okay, so our soak is done and we have thoroughly rinsed and drained 2 to 3 times, and it's now on our 45-degree angle rack. Now, all you have to do is every day for the next couple days, just fill it up with some water, give it a good little swirl, drain it twice a day. That's all you have to do. And within 4 to 6 days, you will have your sprouts ready to eat. So like I said, sprouts are super easy, but here are some tips that might just make it a little bit easier and maybe answer some questions that you may have like I had. So when these sprouts are in their jars, you don't want them to be getting scorched by direct sunlight. You just want to leave them on your counter. That's usually an ideal spot because it's in your kitchen. And mine are actually under a window, but it doesn't get direct sunlight, so it's perfect. They can get light. Some people prefer to throw a towel over them so they don't really get any light at all. I kind of think that's a little overkill. You can let some light on them, but as long as it's not direct or all day long, then you're fine. But mold was one of the issues that some people brought up in the comments. Now, a couple people did say, oh, sorry, I didn't notice that your lid had holes in it, so they thought it was just in a completely enclosed space without any ventilation. So if you are trying to grow your sprouts without any ventilation, you will very likely see mold, and that's obviously not what we want. The other concern I got was the whole bacteria thing, and I feel as if I already covered that. You can do the hydrogen peroxide if you're concerned, or if you're not concerned, then don't bother. It's not adding too much trouble to just do the hydrogen peroxide. So if you are a little bit worried, maybe just do that, put your mind at ease. And lastly, another question I got was, when do I stop the twice-a-day rinsing? And I don't really have a full answer for that. I mean, in general, you are safe to stop rinsing twice a day once your seeds have sprouted, because the whole idea is giving the seeds water so that they can sprout. So after that, after they're ready to eat, they're at that initial sprout stage, then it's safe to kind of not rinse them twice a day. I have still been doing it. I'm a little bit more lenient. Maybe it's only once a day or not at all on a day or two when I forget. Okay, and lastly, how you can eat these sprouts and how I like to eat them. I didn't realize that there were people out there that don't know what sprouts are or have never had sprouts or confused as to how they would even eat them. Eat sprouts however you like. I honestly like just pulling some out of the jar and eating them, especially the radish ones. They're really good. They have that spicy radish taste that I love. But there are people that don't like to eat them like that, and they are great with food, obviously. So my breakfast, so if you like to do like breakfast potato scrambles, sausage scrambles, that's really good mixed in. You can also throw them on sandwiches. I feel like that's the most common way that people eat sprouts or think of sprouts, is being put on a sandwich. I've had it with toast and eggs. Also, a lot of people seem to enjoy them with like a ground beef bowl, especially if you're doing like a Chinese or Asian inspired beef rice bowl. That's super good. So that's it. Comment, let me know. Have you grown sprouts? Do you like them? Are you inspired to grow them after this? I definitely think these are something that I will be growing for a while because they're delicious. So I hope this was helpful. There's a lot of sprout information out there. And as always, you can find me on TikTok and Instagram. But wherever you live, I hope you have a good day or night, and I will see you in my next video.